The next time you need a haircut, think of the barbershop with a grand tradition. Williams Barbershop. Williams Barbershop, proud to serve the entire community of Eufaula. Come by to our new location, new facilities, and see what it's like to be treated in style at Williams Barbershop in the old JCPenney catalog store. There is another choice for making funeral arrangements. Central Funeral Services, located in Eufaula and Louisville, Alabama. With one-of-a-kind staff, thrives on professionalism and meeting the unique needs of families with a wide variety of services. Owned and operated by the Mixon family. Call 687-1060 or 266-5261. Melissa Mixon Smith, licensed funeral director.
GUMBO Live with L.C. Green. We're here again with the bread house. Bread house, Lord have mercy. The bread basket. Much as I stay in here, I should never get that name wrong. But I told you that the purpose of this program is to keep you informed, and I say that we would have fun doing it. So today I got a special guest with me today. Jerry McGIVELRY.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a ray there. So.
Yeah, I see that ray. Yeah, I see that ray. McGIVELRY, he's here and he's a candidate for District 84 State Representative. And he's here with us today to inform us of who he is and whatever questions that you might have. Again, I tell you, if you got any questions for any of our guests, all you got to do is drop by the bread house, drop your questions off, and we'll get you an answer and we'll get back to you. Write your name on your question. As always, no money has exchanged hands. Jerry has not paid me to come on my show. God knows I ain't paid him to come on. The whole purpose of GUMBO Live is, like I tell you every time we come on, is to keep you informed and hopefully have some fun while we're doing it. So Jerry, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
At this moment, what I want you to do, I want you to tell our listening audience, remind you the time change. We come on now at 6:45 on Tuesdays. We used to come on at 7. Now we come on at 6:45 on Tuesdays. And normally before we come on, we're already on YouTube. So you can pull us up, you follow TV1, and you can pull up GUMBO Live and you'll see us there. And what Jerry is here simply that you, the voter, might be informed. I want to keep our voters informed. Mr. Barrett Ford has said he'd come on at a later date. Both candidates was invited to come on. I really wanted to both of them at the same time, but he was, anyway, he's here. Jerry's here. And we're going to talk to him about who he is. All right. So let's start off by doing that. We'll tell our audience just who you are.
Well, my name is Jerry McGIVELRY. I am a native of Eufaula. I was born in Eufaula, and those of you that may be as old as I am remember Sauer Hospital out on the riverbank. I was born there. I lived in Eufaula through my first semester of the first grade. I went to Sanford Street School, and we used to actually walk to school. I remember those days. We can't do that anymore, and we don't do that anymore. And then when I was 6 years old, we moved out to near Texasville, Alabama, where my family had a farm. So I was raised on a farm. I solved a lot of world problems while sitting on a tractor. That was growing up. And those of you that worked on a tractor knows what that means when those roads get mighty long.
Yeah. I
was educated in the public schools of Barber and in Henry County. I finished high school in Abbeville, Alabama in 1965. After the high school, I decided I had to go to college like everybody else. And so I went to Auburn University. I had such a great time my first year. They told me I needed to take some time off. And so took some time off and went to visit my uncle for a while. And I came back in 1971. I enrolled back at Wallace Junior College in Dothan. Spent a year in Dothan making sure my head was back on straight. And then transferred to Auburn University. And I finished Auburn University in June of 1974. I had a degree in aviation management. At that time, that was a great career. I made the mistake of watching the movie Airport one time and decided that's exactly what I wanted to do, but there were no jobs available at the time. Burt Lancaster, and that was a good flick. That was one of the early disaster movies. And so I wound up working for Liberty Mutual Insurance Group. I was a safety consultant for 34 years, and I worked in Birmingham, Chattanooga, and Knoxville, spending most of my time in Knoxville, Tennessee. During that time, I got married, I had a daughter, and we moved basically from Chattanooga to Knoxville. And she finished high school in Knoxville, Tennessee. She plays violin. She got a scholarship to play violin at University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, which Daddy and Mama were real happy about because that was about the only. And in 2008, I was working for Liberty Mutual, and I got notified that a reorganization was coming, and I was not part of it. Me and about 200 of my closest friends were told we were not part of what they call the go-ahead group. And it was not a good year because 8 weeks prior to that notice, my wife had passed away. So 2008 was not my best year that I can remember. But I stayed in Knoxville for a few months thinking what I was going to do, and I finally decided I need to come back to Barber County. That's where I was born. I was raised in Barber County. I'll die in Barber County. So in 2009, September 2009, I moved back here, back to the family farm.
That's where you live?
That's where I live right now, within sight of the family house. I built me a little log house and I enjoy being back in the country.
Okay.
And
Let me ask you something. And that's what I do sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you may be talking. I'm not trying to be rude, but some things hit my mind, and I try to get the most out of that.
Okay.
Get to be married?
And I haven't yet. No. I'm.
Okay.
This is say this.
It's all right.
Things are going good right
okay,
now.
now look. You're retired Master Sergeant Air Force.
Correct.
Couldn't get done.
Well, I went in the Air Force because I knew what I wanted to do. And I remember meeting the recruiter. But like I say, I had so much fun my first year at Auburn. I wound up talking to the Air Force recruiter here. And I knew what I wanted to do, and that's where I could get it done. I was a radio. I wanted to get into radio.
Okay, I got you.
And for some reason or other, my recruiter told me I'm probably going to hate his guts. Of course, he was right. When I got to basic, I did. But I was able to get into radio school.
Look, let's do this. Let's do this. So you still got family connections here?
I have family connections here.
This is your roots and all that?
My roots are in Barber County.
Okay.
I've got, you recently met some of the other McGIVERRYs in town.
Yeah.
We're all related. We all have the same great-grandfather.
Okay, all right.
But we just different wives.
Okay. Now let's talk about some things. Let's talk about some things. I'm looking at your call. And I see what you say we need to do. And because this is on your call, I'm going to assume that you have some kind of plan for the things that we need to do.
Well,
all right?
You got an idea on? You're pretty close to right.
Can we take it step by step?
Sure, let's go.
All right, let's do it. Say that this is your call.
My call.
And you say we need to. And as I look at some of these things, I don't think I got too much argument that we need to do it. So let's tell us. Now let's do this first. Let's do this first. You are running for state representative in District 84.
Correct.
Tell us two things. Tell us, number one, why are you running? Give us the short version of why you're running. And tell us what composes District 84.
Okay. All right. Let's do the last part first. District 84 composes all of Barber County, all of Bullitt County, and about 2/3 of Russell County.
So 3 counties.
3 counties.
All of Barber County.
All of Garvin County, all of Bullitt County,
Okay.
and about 2/3 of Russell County.
Okay. What's the city of Bullitt County?
Bullitt County is Union Springs.
Union Springs. Okay, I'm gonna make sure.
And then you've got Midway, which is not a city, it's a town.
Right.
And then Russell County, you've got Hurtsboro,
Okay.
Pittsview, and Fort Mitchell,
Okay.
primarily,
All right.
and Cottonton.
Okay. So we got 3 counties.
Correct,
Okay. All of Barber County, all of Bullitt County.
Correct.
And part of Russell County.
correct.
Okay. Front part of Russell County.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's that. Now why are you running to be state representative?
Well, when I left here years ago, I was gone for 35 years.
Okay.
You followed, and Barber County specifically was a viable community. I remember when every town in this county had a small factory. We had a shirt factory in Clayton, we had a factory in Louisville, we had a factory in Clyde. In all these towns, the factories supported the towns. We had industry. Nobody got filthy rich, but we all made a living, and the towns were viable. I mean, look around now, look at the empty storefronts now that we didn't have 30 years ago or 20 years ago. And in this time, since 2009, and depending on who you listen to, we've lost anywhere from 4,000 to 7,000 jobs in this district.
Look, let me not do this here. Because it says here, bring jobs to District 84. That's one thing we need to do.
Right.
All right. Now let's do 2 things. Let's briefly look at the kind of job that used to be here, and you tell me if the time was the thing that caught up with it. Would you agree with that?
Time has caught up with us. Let's face it. Eufaula was a textile town.
Yeah.
And we all know what happened in the textile industry.
Okay.
And some of that was a result of NAPA, that came out back in the early 90s.
Okay.
And a lot of jobs were sent to South America and Central America and Asia.
Okay.
But look at the manufacturing jobs we lost. We just lost Cooper Industries here. And Cooper Lighting made lights. We're still using a lot of lights.
Yeah.
And they decided to go to Mexico. I remember there was a door factory, a Wall Lake Door Company. It used to be out here off of, toward the water plant down there, off of Barber. We used to have several of those kind of industries here, not only textiles, but other things, but they're no longer here either.
Okay, let's go back to your call.
Okay.
I'm sorry to cut you off. Okay, number 1, bring jobs to District 84. Tell us the secret that you have to bring jobs here, and what kind of job I'm talking about.
What we need are manufacturing jobs, service jobs like the McDonald's and a lot of other things. These are good to have, but they're not sustainable jobs for a community. A community can sustain itself with manufacturing jobs. What we have to do is have someone that can work with the economic and development people to do that. And currently, we don't have that in place at this point.
Okay.
There's been no activity from our representation in the House on bringing jobs to this county or this district, even though we have representatives on that committee. And there's been none of that. And you come back and you see there's not a lot of chances of it happening. I think the Hyundai Plastics plant is expanding a little bit. I think they'll add 15 or 20 jobs in the not too distant future. But that's well and good, but that's not going to keep this community going. We need to have somebody that first off can talk to and work with the folks in Montgomery that help in recruiting industry to this area. I think the next thing we have to do is we have to provide an incentive for somebody to come to Eufaula. Now, I've had people tell me that we shouldn't provide incentives because of this, that, and the other. I look at the city like Mobile. They held out some great carrots to get Airbus. And Airbus, once Airbus gets established, Airbus is going to be in Mobile a long time. The city of Huntsville just provided incentives to get Remington Arms to come to Huntsville.
Now, look, you said something that really got my attention. You said having the ability, I'm going to use this term now, you didn't use it quite like this, having the ability to sit at the table with folks.
Correct.
Okay? And what experience are you drawing from?
Well, first off, in my working career, I was a safety consultant, and I worked with industry of all kinds, big and little, in large cities and small cities. The biggest account I ever had was UPS. I think everybody's heard of them.
Mm-hmm.
We worked with a lot of large companies. I was able to see how they work, what they want. I've got a lot of experience in working with large companies.
You still have names and numbers that you could rely on to call and say, listen, I just need to come to the meeting and talk.
Surprisingly, yes.
Okay.
I actually have an Excel spreadsheet with some phone numbers on it years ago.
All right.
And whether that would work now or not, I don't know, but I actually still have that set.
Sure. Okay, now let's jump down. I want to jump down here. Because you got a pet peeve, man. You say improve the schools. Now, I look at schools as being local.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me from the state representative perspective, how we improve our schools from that perspective.
I think one of the things we have to do is let the local school boards run the school boards. And I'm all for that. The further away you are from your schools, the harder it is to get people to understand what your problems are. And every county is unique. What's the problems are in Barber County are not going to be the same as they are in Bullock County, and won't be the same as they are in Russell County. I think that too, we've got to make it to where kids want to learn. I spent some time last year in some of the schools working on a project, and at some point I got to thinking, I'm hoping they're learning something, but in some cases I said, I'm hoping it's not just daycare. And sometimes I get the feeling that sometimes our school system are more of a place to, let's get the kids out of the house and take care of them until mom and daddy come home. And are they really learning anything? And that gets into some of the other things, like we've got the Common Core curriculum now, and I'm not overly impressed with it because I'm not sure if anybody really knows what it's supposed to do.
Let me ask you this. Now, is that not going against what on your man this is what I want you to tell our audience, because I heard you say something. Mm-hmm. I heard you say something, and I can remember when Dr. Sapp was running for his seat, and one of the things that he said sitting right here, that the Republican Party was behind Common Core. So are you saying that you're an independent thinker?
I'm an independent thinker when it comes to that. And one of the things about I've seen on Common Core, I've heard some teachers talk about it. They talk about how great it is for the teachers, but I've never heard them say what the children get out of it.
Okay, now look, this is what I want to do. I use Common Core, that's what you use, but I want to know Jerry. I want to know Jerry's, the party tell Jerry, say, Jerry, I want you to back Common Core. And you say down here, I'm going to improve the schools. And history is showing us so far that Common Core is not improving our schools.
Absolutely.
Tell me what Jerry's going to do.
Jerry would like to go back to standards that we had that used to work. You've always had standards.
Mm-hmm. That ain't my question.
Oh.
That ain't my question.
Okay. Okay, I'm making it.
I'm not trying to put
okay, that's fine.
But let's tell our audience this. There are no prearranged questions, there are no prearranged deals and nothing. We say we're just going to sit there and talk.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Correct.
Okay, now, this is what you said, we need to improve our schools.
Correct.
I'm agreeing with you. But this is my only question. The party, it said on your card, I'm Republican. That's what it says on your card. All right? And you flying that down. Am I right?
Good.
What I'm saying to you is that we need to improve our schools.
Okay.
And if the party tells us, Jerry, we want you to support Common Core, and Jerry says that's not going to improve our schools, what is Jerry going to do?
Jerry is going to go with his feelings that this ain't going to improve the schools.
Okay.
And you will find within the Republican Party, there is a lot of opposition to Common Core. Party leadership, on the other hand, is for it. The Chamber of Commerce and some of the other folks are for it. But there is a tremendous amount of resistance within the park.
Okay.
The common core. So it's not one homogeneous
Okay.
group of people. There's a lot of discussion back and forth.
Let me tell you why I asked you that.
Okay.
Let me tell you why I asked you that. Me and you both were at Lake Point, it was Thursday night, and one of the things Dr. Carson said, Dr. Ben Carson, that I wholeheartedly agree with, Dr. Carson said, and helped me with this, you were there, that one of the problems we have is that we don't get to know the person because of party.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I understand.
And I agree with 100. We ought to get away with this party stuff. Do away with this party stuff and get to know the person.
Absolutely. I'm all for that.
And so the flag you fly does not determine who you are.
No, I chart my own course. And I think if you remember what Dr. Carson said, he said if he chose to run, he's probably an independent, but at this point he would run as a Republican.
Right, he said that. Now,
And
he said he's an independent. That's what he said.
And basically, you know, I may espouse a lot of the things that the Republican Party says, but again, within the Republican Party, there's disagreement on Common Core and some other things as well.
Okay.
And that's one advantage you allow dissension. We're all probably looking for the same thing, but we all have a different way we want to go get it.
Okay.
But no, I'm all for keeping the school systems independent. I'd rather Barber County do Barber County schools and set up their programs and their standards that work best for Barber County. Same thing for Bullock County. Same thing for Russell County. I think that works best. And the other thing, one of the things I've had some cousins that teach school, and I was asking about certain things in the school system, and one of them was they brought up PTA meetings. Now, I don't know about when you were growing up, but when I grew up, when PTA night come, Mom and Daddy and everybody else in the school was there.
Sure.
Now, we as the kids loved it because they were at the house for 2 hours. We didn't have to stay. We did other things, but they were at the school taking an interest in the schools. One of the comments I got was that nobody shows up, and a lot of times the teachers don't show up. And that doesn't say a lot for getting community involvement in the schools. And I think you've got to have that. We can throw all of the money we want to at the school system.
But now how, and don't get me wrong, what you're saying, great. But when I need to know, you said ready on day one. I will ask you about this. So you ready to go to work? If they affect you on Monday, you ready to go to work on Tuesday. Okay? How do you address the lack of attendance to PTA? Not the school didn't have PTA.
Not anymore, they do.
But see, but I'm trying to get you to see how we keep things going, but yet you as a state, you're the state representative of District 84. How do you improve the local schools? Well, what tools do you have available to you?
One of the tools, I'm not there, so I don't know everything that's available.
Okay, good.
And the problem is, and I probably won't know till I get there.
Okay.
But I'm a good listener. And I do read a lot.
That's a good answer, man.
And so I don't have all the answers. I don't intend. I can't go in there right now and say this. We're going to do this, and this. I think we've got to see exactly what we've got to work with first. And like everything else, you see what you've got, and then what can I do with what I got?
Let me tell you something. That's a Ronald Reagan answer. I remember Ronald Reagan was in Chicago. I believe he was campaigning for the presidency. You kept asking the question about, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, I can't tell you what I'm going to do. I ain't going to let y'all elect, and then I'll see what I'm going to do. You know, so that's a good answer. But now, and then you got down here to spend the taxpayers' money wisely. That all makes good sense.
Well, the reason I say that is, and I think people need to realize, the government has no money until they take it from somebody.
Right.
And in either the form of taxes, or fees, or licenses, or something. And there's a finite amount of money. And we know what happened this past budget. They had to borrow one-time money to get a budget passed this time. And so, I'm a treasurer of the local fire department in Texasville, and I don't like to spend any more money there than I have to either, because it's not my money to spend. And And so I think we have to take a real close look at what we're spending money on. And there's some things we need to. There's some things I think we need to take a much closer look at. And until you see a budget and what is spelled out in the budget, you don't know. The problem with the states have, and sometimes I wish the federal government would do this, the states have to have a balanced budget. You can only have, if you got this much money coming in, you can only spend this much money.
Right.
You can't print money. So you're stuck with what you've got. And so whatever money we've got, we have got to spend it in the most efficient way as possible.
Now, I'm talking about spending money. A little bit I know about government. A lot of things are mandated already.
Correct.
A lot of things you got to spend money on.
There are a number of federal mandates, which are called unfunded mandates, which the federal government lays on the states with no method of funding. And that's been common for the last 20 or 30 years. The federal government is good at doing unfunded mandates to the state. And the poor states get stuck with it. One example, think about, I think it was in the 1995 or 6 time frame. Remember President Clinton had this thing about all these cops. They were going to put 65,000 new policemen on the streets. And they funded them for 3 years. Well, after 3 years, the states didn't have any money to fund them. So a lot of policemen got let loose on the 4th year. An unfunded mandate. Yeah, it sounded great to start with. But then when the money was pulled away,
But now look,
and so all of a sudden you get stuff like this all the time.
But look, Jerry, let's talk about this. Because this is the only thing. Spending money wisely. If I got 3 years, of you funding, let's say for instance, police. I got 3 years of you funding police. To me, that gives me 3 years to come up with a plan to say this is what I'm going to do the moment Jerry stops funding my police. Does that make sense?
It would make a lot of sense if it actually worked that way. But the Congress or the legislature they just don't seem to be able to understand that. They always wait to the last minute and then they're jumping through hoops to come up with something. And you know what I know, that's not the way to do it. You and I would do it different.
Right, but now look, the people we talking about here, all of them have come by GUMBO line, but somewhere, whatever program it was, they sit down and they said the same thing. They said the same thing we're saying right now. So what? Assure me, Jerry, that what you're telling me now ain't gonna change once you get to Montgomery.
I was going to save this for later, but I'm going to do it now.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
What I've got, and this is a copy of a postcard, a Christmas card I got from a person I used to work with 10 or 12 years ago.
Okay.
And I've kind of used this as a guide for what I do.
Okay.
And this is one of the things I believe.
Okay.
It says, Jerry, for all you do because you believe it is the right thing to do, I thank you for that reminder. Do what is right and ask questions later. And that's what I try to do. I'm not sure that I'll ever, I will never satisfy everybody.
Sure.
You know that. I mean, if you try to satisfy everybody, you satisfy nobody.
That's right. That's exactly.
And but I think from that standpoint, you've got to look and see what you've got. Again, what have I got to work with, and then do the right thing on what I've got
and what troubles me, and just like I tell people all the time, I'm not the sharpest man in the world, but I think all these things need to be looked at. We need to support small businesses. You understand?
80% of the employers in this country are small business, and that's where most of your work comes from. It'd be nice to get a 10,000 person plant somewhere in the district, but you and I know that's probably not going to happen. But we've got small businesses that can work as tier manufacturers, like for Kia in LaGrange, Hyundai in Montgomery, even Airbus in Mobile, and other places that are around here. We could still entice people to start a small business by incentives and making it easier to run a business.
Look, let me tell you this. We be getting down, I was dying about to run out. We got about 5 minutes left. And I'm going to give you the last 2 or 3 minutes to say anything you want to say. But this is what I would ask you. And I did my research before I came, and I wanted to have all my stuff in front of me. But percentage-wise, do you know that the population, the unemployment in Barber County is higher
12.9%.
than the state?
It's high. It's 12.9% in Barber County. It's right at 11% in Bullitt County. I don't know what Russell County, my part of the district, is because I split the district. But if you look around all the counties around that surround this district, there's nobody over 8%. Had somebody.
But the state ain't but 8.1%.
Yeah, but that's a cumulative.
Right.
Of all 67.
Right.
But if you look at Henry and Barber, Henry and Dale and Houston and Geneva and all these counties around us, this district has the highest unemployment rate of all the counties around us. I had somebody say the other day, well, there are not jobs. Well, there are plenty of jobs, but they're just not in District 84.
Okay, now, we deal with some reality. Okay? And like I told you, I looked at it. And the one reason why I want to have both candidates here, I don't want to give nobody no advantage to anybody else. You understand what I'm saying? But the figures speak for themselves.
They do.
You just said the figures.
Yeah.
They speak for themselves. So my only question before I turn it over to you, I want to tell again, if you're watching Gumbo Live, we want to thank y'all for watching Gumbo Live. We're right down here downtown. You fall on downtown, you fall at the bread basket, and my guest is the candidate for State Representative District 84. State Representative Mr. Jerry A. McGIVELRY. I got you.
You got it.
All right. But now, so we know all the facts and we know all the figures. My only question would be why? Or either why not? Whichever one you want.
Why vote for me or why
No. You're going to tell us why to vote for you when I turn you loose. Just a moment. Give me 2 minutes and I'll let you have the last 3 minutes.
All right.
Deal?
That's a deal.
Okay. We talk about unemployment here in Barber County.
Right.
And we talk about how it's what,
12.9% in the July.
Okay, and all the other counties around us, less than 8, no more than 8.
No more than that.
So my question, looking at the unemployment in Barber County, what?
First off, we don't have anybody speaking for us in Montgomery that can help steer people to this area. We don't have anybody that's speaking up for us. You know, I think everybody is worth more than an unemployment check. I'd love to see full employment in this county, or whatever considered as full. It used to be 4%, what they always considered full employment. But you know, nobody's speaking up for us now. We've had 4 years since I've been back. I haven't seen anything change. It's only gotten worse. And I don't see, what's the definition of an insanity? You keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results, and we're not getting anything different happening here. And somebody, I think I've got a fresh set of eyes. The Republicans are going to control the state house, the Senate, and the governor, and most every other office in Alabama for the foreseeable future. We've got to have somebody that can speak to the governing majority to help steer things down this way, because they've forgotten about us, because we don't have anybody down here speaking for us in Montgomery. I think I can do that.
Well, now,
And
I'm gonna get a minute of your time.
That's fine.
Look. Are you telling me that simply because we don't have a Republican, that they make everybody in Barber County suffer?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's nobody down here speaking for us in Montgomery. We need somebody that is a business-friendly representative that can help steer people down here. We have a tremendous amount of stuff to offer here, but the word's not getting out for some reason. And for that reason, I think I can do a better job. And that's one of the reasons I'm running. I don't want to see you fall and dry up and blow away. I've seen that in too many other places. And most, all you got to do is look at some of the smaller towns in the county.
And after you answer this question, what I want you to do is use the last 3 minutes and tell the folks, whatever you want to tell them. Okay? If you got elected, going back to your call, ready on day one, if you get elected, how soon could Barber County expect recently to see that?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Yeah.
And you don't know. You don't know. And that's one of those, I could say anything and it sounds good, but I'm also a realist. You know, reality hits us in the face sometimes when we really don't want it to.
Okay.
But the only thing I can say is that I'll work hard to bring things back down here. Like I said, we have a tremendous amount of stuff to offer in Barber and Bullock, and even Russell County, that would draw industry here. Especially Eufaula school system is a great school system. I mean, that should be a selling point right there, because we have a good school system here in Eufaula. And we've got plenty of space. We've got the facilities. We've got enough empty facilities that even if somebody is going to bring and redo a plant, we could do that. But I think that I could do a better job in getting people to listen and find out and remember what District 84 is. It's kind of like the black hole, you know.
Okay.
But
And it's your time.
my time.
I'm not going to interrupt you.
Okay.
We got about 3 minutes.
Okay.
So you got 3 minutes to look at that, and I would ask you to let our audience how they can get in touch with you. We have not done that yet.
We have not done
So
this.
on your time, that would be a
Okay.
good thing to do. I'm through now.
I can be reached. I've started a Facebook page, and it's turned out to have a technical problem, so I've got to redo a Facebook page. You can contact me. My phone number is a landline. It's always hooked up to an answering machine. It's 334-775-0062. I check that answering machine whenever I walk in the door. When the light's flashing, I listen. I have a cell number. Area code is 865-363-9073. Or if you want to drop me a line, it's Friends of Jerry A. McGIVERRY, Post Office Box 326, Eufaula 36072.
Spell your last name for the audience.
McGill, V as in Victor, R-A-Y. There's another spelling in town that some folks will be familiar with, but I'm the R-A-Y McGivery out of Texas. I could make, as a candidate running, I can make a tremendous number of promises. And I could promise a car in every garage, a chicken in every pot, just name it, I could promise everything. That's been tried, and I'm not about to do that. But what I will promise, I'm going to make 3 promises in this whole campaign. You just heard me read the Christmas card. I will always strive to do the right thing. And that's just the way I am. I will try to strive hard as I can to do the right thing. I will never take anybody's vote for granted. There's been too much of that over the last, since I've been open up to vote. Don't assume that everybody's going to vote a certain way. I will never take anybody's vote for granted. And the other thing is, I think I have to remember that I'm from Barber County. I will never forget where I came from. I came back to Barber County by choice. I didn't have to come back here. I wanted to come back here. And this is where, like I say, I was born and raised here. I'll die. And this is where I want to be. I think
So you ain't down, no.
No, that's not on my list right now. I've got a lot more in my life that I'd rather do right now.
I got you. We don't want to close the bridge.
No, we don't want to do that. People will talk. But I do think that it's time to make a change. What we've been doing the last several years hasn't worked. And I think it's time to get somebody else to take a look at it. Let's see what we can do. Maybe somebody, that's why they put in relief pitchers in baseball games. When the other pitcher's not doing a good job, they bring in a relief pitcher to try to do something better. I think yesterday, just as a matter of fact, they had 3 relievers no hit the Braves yesterday. Yeah. And, so that's one of those things. But I think we have to remember that we have to have somebody that will speak for us. And I think I'm the person that can do that. I'm not afraid to speak my mind.
Okay. All right. You have been watching Gumbo Live, and our guest has been Mr. Jerry A. McGiveRry. And he's running for state representative in District 84. And he's giving you his address, he's giving you his phone number. If you have any personal questions for him, he has a goal. He has some things that he called priority that he need to do, that we need to do, and the first thing is to bring jobs to District 84. So we're gonna pray God, whoever gets that seat, that this be number one on their priority.
That's why it's my first priority.
We pray that you can be successful in that. You've been watching GUMBO Live, and you'll see.
The next time you need a haircut, think of the barbershop with a grand tradition. Williams Barbershop. Williams Barbershop, proud to serve the entire community of Eufaula. Come by to our new location, new facilities, and see what it's like to be treated in style at Williams Barbershop in the old J.C. catalog store. There is another choice for making funeral arrangements. Central Funeral Services, located in Eufaula and Louisville, Alabama. With one-of-a-kind staff, thrives on professionalism and meeting the unique needs of families with a wide variety of services. Owned and operated by the Mixon family. Call 687-1060 or 266-5261. Melissa Mixon Smith, licensed funeral director.